up, whenever I would get flustered or angry, I was often encouraged to go into a quiet room and count to 10 to slow my anger. If I was out in conversation with friends and I heard gossip, people speaking badly about a friend who wasn't there, I was often encouraged again to zip it, to not add any drama into the situation. Growing up, I was also encouraged if I saw somebody being put down, yelled at, treated poorly, to stand up for that individual and to be an ally with them. Growing up, I've always tried to live what I would call the good life. And by good life, I don't mean luxury or wealth. I mean the good life as in good relationships with other people, with neighbors, good relationships with myself and my self-esteem, but also good relationships with God, our provider and sustainer. And growing up, I've had to take on some habits that help me live in this direction. It reminds me of something my dad used to say. He said that there's a difference between wanting something and working for something. And each year we would practice working for something as we planted a garden in the spring. We'd make raised beds. We would bring manure and shovels and dig and plant and weed. And it would be hard work. It would be sweaty. But we would have okra and tomatoes and cantaloupe and watermelon. It was good to have a garden. It took time and energy. One of the other things that we planted around my family's house growing up were fruit trees. We planted figs, pears, and peaches. And peaches were our favorite. Our peach trees, they don't grow that tall. They sit kind of low to the ground. And it takes a long time for the peach fruit to become sweet enough to be plucked. Every year we would watch our peach trees produce and grow, and we would wait until they were ripe and ready to pick. And every year we would come across the same battle. As we waited for their ripeness, so was all of creation. Very often we would be out there picking peaches only to find that the deer and the squirrels and the possums have already cleaned out all the peaches. So each year we would almost fight with creation to get to the plants, to get to the fruit as soon as we could. Because fruit is good. Fruit is nourishing, it's beautiful, it's sweet, it's tender. Like I said, all of creation seems to enjoy fruit. And that's why I think it's no surprise that the Apostle Paul calls the work of God's Spirit the fruit of the Spirit. So if you are wondering if you are walking with God, if you're wondering if you are living your life in God's plan, you can look at yourself and check and see if you contain any of those fruits of the Spirit. Now, Paul mentions this in Galatians 5, verses 22 to 23, so let's take a look at that verse right now. It goes like this: "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. For the fruit of the Spirit is kindness, goodness, patience, peace, joy, love." The fruit of the Spirit is the good things in life that God is curating in your life. And if you look at the fruits of the Spirit, they lead to right relationships with yourself, with God, and with others. You see, what Paul is kind of arguing is that you and I are kind of like trees. We're kind of like vines. We're kind of like plants that are put in the ground, they are worked on, and after some time they will produce a good fruit. Now, Paul says that we produce a good fruit when we focus on God. We produce peace, joy, love, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control when we focus on God. You see, you're like that peach tree. And just like that peach tree, you get to produce something each and every day. Except, we're told we don't get to produce just one type of fruit. In fact, God tells us He's producing all sorts of fruits inside of us. Fruits of joy, fruits of love, fruits of patience. And as God works in us, and as we work on ourselves and grow, we begin to see all of our fruits developing, becoming something more, and helping us live in a good direction. So how do we focus on God? How do we focus on God and grow these fruits, curate these good things? Several things that we can do in our own life. Some people take quiet time each morning, where rather than focusing on the busyness of life, they sit with their thoughts and they sit in prayer and they sit focusing on God and what God is asking them to do in the day. Other people open their Bibles and they read scripture and they sit with those words. They bring their Bibles to community and they talk about what they've read and how it's working on them. Sometimes we can focus on God by loving our neighbor, by going out and serving the poor, those who have less than us, and offering them our servanthood. What type of life have you been curating? What type of life have you been building up? Are you working on any fruits? Is God's Spirit evident in your life? I pray that good fruits are being curated daily in your life. I pray that as you look at the branches of the tree that God is curating, you will begin to see that He is with you, helping you, sustaining you, and building and producing good fruits to carry you and give you strength for the journey ahead. Grace and peace.